Hello. All right, we're live with episode 2 of Gathering of Branches. I think this is working. We'll make sure. We did some minor updates to the stream, so we'll see if everything is working as designed. If not, we'll fix it on the fly, like we always do. I'm Bob, the GM. Let's go through the cast here, starting with Rebecca.
Hi, I'm Rebecca, and I will be playing Olin tonight, and I'm very excited to be.
And what is Olwyn? This is a character, like
Olin.
high concept.
Olin's this lady. I believe she's a minor noble, kind of displaced a little bit. And she just recently got out of having to be forced into a marriage of some sort, or at least a betrothal, and has ridden down to Barrowcrest Manor and met two lovely ladies, well, three lovely ladies actually. And that's where her adventure is right now.
Perfect. Emily.
Hello, I'm Emily. Oh goodness, that's a good start. I play Beatrice. Beatrice is she's figuring it out right now. She's had a little bit of a few months. She's been like half sold to a random manor and has been working there and studying magic. But yeah, she somehow got pulled into whatever the random two girls she met have done after almost hitting her with a horse. So she's kind of figuring it out.
Sounds about right. Let's go to Megan.
Well, for the record, I would like to say that Ronwi didn't almost hit Beatrice with the horse. That was just one of us. Ronwi is a double esquire. She got one knight, and he died. And then we got another knight, and he also died. So she's between knights right now. Possibly for the foreseeable future. And of note, she has quite a gnarly scar, just like going all the way down her face. And might come up eventually, but she's a bit of a massive hater when it comes to Salisbury. I promise she's pleasant normally, though.
It's not like they invaded your land or anything. Nothing to really hold a grudge over. She's just really overreacting if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, my face is like this because of their prince, but like that's water under the bridge.
I don't think anybody really likes Salisbury here. We've all got our Salisbury baggage.
Salisbury.
Right, so when we last left off, you'll recall meeting a particular boy and learning his name. So there were some catches on that from the out of character side of the fence, but we'll leave it to progress in game. As far as like time period, we're gonna skip forward a little bit, but I will give you some updates and let's kind of negotiate what happened over the course of this next month. So I'll start with things you might be interested in. So Lady Gwyneth's been active, and she's been utilizing Olwen specifically as a maiden in the house. So this has been prepping you for what will be a courtly year, as one would expect from nobility. On top of that, the boy Rickrick, he hasn't progressed too much. He's back up, but he's sleeping most of the day, every day. His wounds are healing slowly, so he's progressing, but his mind hasn't returned at all. So there have been some suggestions, and what Lady Gwynedd has basically said is, let's wait till the spring. If things don't get better by spring, perhaps we take him to the healing wells and see if there's any sort of progress there. So you know that Wells is a place of healing, so is Bath. Weird how those names work. Two of your big cities. Okay, so those are the updates I have for you. And I'll add one more for Olwen in a bit. Actually, all of you will get a test on this, but what are your things? What do you want to know, or what do you want to update about your character over the course of late February to early March?
For Owen at least, I imagine that she would be very much checking in on Brickirk, um, being very attentive and perhaps like paying attention to him, possibly trying to write a letter back to her aunt.
Interesting.
If
What's
that's
this
a
letter?
thing.
Let's talk about this letter. What's it contain?
I feel like she feels that it's the right thing to do, just keeping her aunt updated on what's happening.
Makes sense. That can't backfire at all. Can you give me a compose roll real quick?
Yeah. Just compose roll, make sure it's not super passive aggressive. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. Oh boys. This is
Oh,
not
boys?
gonna be good.
Ow!
Yeah, that's
You know, if this were
that's a
D&D, you'd be doing so
16.
good right now.
I would have been such a. It's a 16 out of 1 failure.
Okay. And I will remind you, just because I know we're still kind of new to the system, you can always choose to use your this is where my mind goes. Your passions. That's the word I was looking for. Your passions. So you can always
Right.
you could have chose like love, family, because that would totally apply here. No, but I just want to remind those things. You know, I will offer you a chance if you wanted to. It would only give you a 6 out of 20, so it might not be worth it, right?
Yeah.
Always want to offer it though.
Sure. He would. You know what?
Or
Let's-
hospitality would be the other one that would apply.
Let's go with a hospitality roll.
Let's give her a try.
All right.
All right, you succeed.
Success.
So go ahead and make a compose roll again. Add a +5 to your threshold.
Add 5 to the modifier.
Yeah.
Okay. It's even worse, but at least it's not a fumble.
It's not a fumble.
It's still a 19 out of 6 failure.
I will allow that hospitality check to play into the feast, since it's only you're doing it for one roll. Allow it to kind
Incredible.
of boil over. What were the highlights that you intended to put in this letter?
I was going to tell her all about how I'm doing such a good job, and anything that Lady has praised me for, I would be sure to include. Be like, I'm doing a really good job here, and I feel needed and useful, and I'm not just taking advantage of the situation. It's not just that I didn't want to get married and do my duties as you saw fit, but I am doing my duty to the king as he desired.
Perfect. Sounds great. Yeah, we'll leave that at that, and we'll check in. Megan or Emily, you don't if either of you wants to go next. We're kind of just looking for anything you might have done in the in between that's relevant.
Let's go with Emily first, because she's second in the order.
Okay.
You know, she appears second on the screen.
For sure.
I was about to be like, let's do Megan first.
Got
She
you.
got to it first. So Beatrice, I feel like, is trying to kind of still learn more about the kind of magic kind of stuff that she's been learning slowly from Lilo.
Mhm.
So she's gonna keep on that, and then she's probably going to peek in on the boy a couple times. She's definitely like exploring a little bit more because she's made it into the house at this point, which is exciting. But yeah, mostly just kind of keeping tabs on the boy, learning a little bit about magic, maybe keeping tabs on the 2 weird people she's met.
Interesting. Yeah, sounds good.
Not that she's trying to do it like somewhat
subtly, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
She's not going up and be like,
normal.
hi. No. She's
Give
not-
me
she's not-
test awareness for me real quick.
My first roll.
Like to imagine her like watching Olin like a hawk anytime she goes to like check in on Rickard.
There you go.
Oh,
That's gonna be my only good roll for the night.
you don't know. You don't know.
You see a room that that's always been locked before. You notice that it's like the doors have cracked open. This is like one of the times if you checked in with Rickard, you kind of walk by it.
Oh, I want to look at it.
Okay.
In the most subtle way possible.
You peer inside. At first it looks empty. It looks like a bedroom, right? But in the center of it, there's a small frame bed, and you notice that there's an older man sleeping on it. His arms are folded over his like midsection. He's laying back like this. He almost looks like, from this distance, he looks dead.
I was just about to ask that.
Ooh, well, I'm gonna roll.
What do you want to test?
I'm rolling between prudent and reckless.
Okay.
Which are even for me. The last time they're even and they rolled even, so we're gonna see if it actually helps me make a decision.
Be quite messed up if Lord Barrowcrest's corpse has just been sitting here this whole time.
Oh boy.
All right. She will kind of nudge the door a little further. She's not going all the way in. She's kind of getting a little bit closer, but not without, like, out of reach from the door, if that makes sense. So you can't, like, shut the door behind her kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, totally.
Like, keeping a hand on the door.
What is her intent with going closer? What's she looking for?
I'm looking for him breathing.
Okay. So you kind of go as far as you can without Will still having comfort that you're not going to be locked in the room. And it looks like he's like pale. It's really hard to see from the distance, like whether or not he's breathing. But all of a sudden you see his fingers all of a sudden drum on the bed, like on the wood of the bed. And then they stop again. And like it's one of those things where your heart like jumps out of your chest for a second.
Okay. That seems alive, right? So I still can't see him breathing?
Not from this distance, right? Like, cause you're a few feet away. Like, it's pretty hard to see.
Know what I have on me?
You're gonna throw something at him?
That's exactly what I was going to do. I was gonna throw something small and just like, and then if he moves, run.
Sounds
the most 14-year-old plan
I was about to
ever
say,
heard
that-
in your life.
That 100% sounds like a 14-year-old thing.
Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna do 14-year-old plans, and
Okay.
we're going to. Do I have like a pebble or a rock or anything like tiny, a bead? I don't know.
Yeah. Let's say you have like we'll call it a bead for now. It's something that you find in your pocket that you maybe picked up along the way. You know, teenagers and all that. So.
Yep. Just tiny goblins. I'm going to throw it at him.
Okay.
Aiming for the larger portion of his body.
Why don't
Yes.
you test Dex for me, please?
I thought that might be. Oh, please, Dex, please. Oh,
Hey!
I'm doing okay.
You see.
All right.
You see it bounce off the middle of like his forehead. It's just like dunk, and then it like drops. There's no response from his face at all as it hits.
There's no response.
No response. No reaction. You know, like nothing from the nerves, or no response to the face at all.
I don't like this.
I don't like it either.
This sucks, man.
She's good. She's going to kind of where she is, just very quietly because she's scared. She's going to be like, "Hello," and wait and see if he responds.
You hear from behind you, like in a distance, you hear, "Beatrice, is that you?" It's like coming from another room. It's Lady Gwynedd.
Get out! Get out! Get out!
Okay.
She's out of the room.
Okay. All right, and then we'll kind of we'll move on from that, like you know, that conversation.
Yep.
Perfect. And Megan, anything in particular you would want to do?
Well, I have a question first. Beatrice isn't really from around here, and Olwen is being kind of sent to stay with the lady of the house, but I have a home. Am I, like, allowed to go in and out of the manor?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
You've agreed,
just like
basically,
else.
I think, and let me know if this makes sense to you, I think it's like the three of you've all but volunteered to help Rickert out, basically. So it's like on that, Owen has a specific role in being a maiden here at the court. The two of you don't right now. But yes.
We're like nurses who don't have a nursing degree and have no points in chirurgery.
Yes.
So we're just kind of here.
There you go. Exactly. That was it. Perfect description.
Okay, well,
10 out of 10. So.
Bronwyn will definitely also be like dropping in and like checking on Rickert. Probably like hanging around. She doesn't have a knight anymore. And she kind of got like unintegrated from her family's like chore schedule, so she's kind of just like got some time to kill and she doesn't really know what to do with it. So she might like stay a little bit longer, maybe like talk at him and see if that gets any responses. Maybe not, but maybe it'll just be nice to hear words for him.
Okay. What is Erinway's intent here? Like, what would you say she?
Well, her intent here is mostly like Rickert hasn't really been speaking. And so her intent here is mostly to kind of like say things to maybe like get him more acclimated to the idea of speech. Maybe he hasn't spoken in a really long time and maybe he hasn't heard words in a really long time. That might be it. If his nerves are still a little on edge, it might be nice to have someone just kind of like talking calmly next to him. Putting good vibes out, you know?
Okay.
telling him
Mhm.
stories or something that she'd heard, or is something that happened to Grifflet at some point. Just like anything, everything, whatever comes to mind, just as long as it's like soothing and not too distressing.
I hear ya. I hear ya.
Mhm.
What to make you test?
I could roll charisma.
Right? That's not a thing. You're good.
I know.
I think what I'm most interested in here maybe is like a generous. Like you're going out of your way in this description to try and help him out. So
Okay.
test generous.
Testing generous. I failed generous.
It's all good. That's
Whoops.
basically just means you're not gonna get a tick there. That's it.
Okay.
So what things go along as expected? No tick.
No tick.
No fumble. So that's good too.
No fumble. I don't call him a piece of shit to his face.
Yeah.
While I'm doing this.
Yet.
Yet. I might
You look like
fumble
you could have
later.
been a knight. Let's go 3 for 3, baby.
Let's give it some time. We can still get there. It's early.
She might also, now that she knows that Olwen knows things about Chigurgurgurguri, she might ask her if she is willing to look at her dad's leg, just because, like, that thing's not looking right. It's concerning.
Why don't we do that? I think we'll move into the next part, but that can be like the start of our next scene. Give me an intrigue roll, all three of you.
Good.
And this your skill will adequately reflect the reality of how well you're likely to overheard this.
So, you said that my passion is going to extend into...
Yes, it extends to this. Yep.
Fantastic. And it's 5 for everything?
Look at Emily
I
with
wish I
the good
rolled it.
rolls. The bad D&D rolls, but the good rolls here.
The 5 extends to
That was
everything,
so
correct,
close.
Bob?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Anyone who's
you
played
get
with me knows.
you get the 5 bonus. Yep.
Fuck.
Oof.
Did not matter.
Emily,
I did a fail.
The rule of 5 or below applies here, so you get to tick intrigue for free, even though you didn't crit.
Okay.
Oh.
If you pass any skills that are below 5 or at 5, regardless of whether it's a minor thing. So there'll be tests I call for that are like very eventful, and you just get a tick if you succeed. They're usually something meaningful. These ones aren't as meaningful. They're just if you manage to pass it, usually doesn't apply anything. Like if you got a 17 in intrigue and you get a 5, congrats, you now know what's going on. Anyways, that's the side. I'll explain it as we go. It'll make sense, I promise. So you've heard that there is an organ, like it looks like the castle's been in, or the manor, sorry, has been in a bit of a bustle as of the last week. We're moving into like the 3rd week of March. I know why we're gonna give this to Beatrice, because this is gonna make sense for the pagan side of the fence. And the ritual side. So there seems to be a bustle. Clearly, I think all of you pick up on there's some kind of courtly event happening here. Beatrice, you're able to nail it. So we're going to start a scene with all three of you kind of waiting to speak with Lady Gwynedd, maybe after seeing Rickard. Lady Gwynedd's asked to speak to you all. But Beatrice, you pick up on the fact that it is going to be the spring equinox very soon. And the pagans, even though they don't tend to necessarily care about Easter, they do care about the spring equinox. And that's a broad statement. There are a lot of pagans that are adopting Easter, especially in Summerland. Like it's started to pick up now, and ever since Uther came.
Cringe.
Ooh. If Uther likes it, it sucks.
There you go.
Boycott.
All right. So yeah, we'll start with a scene with all three of you.
All right. Well, Aramwi was gonna, so she'll probably like come on up to the group and say, Lady Olwyn, you know things about treating wounds, don't you?
I do a little bit.
If it's not too much trouble, would you be able to take a look at my dad's leg? He it got injured during the raids, and it hasn't quite been the same since.
Of course. I'm off my duties right now, so I have plenty of time.
Thank you. I'll
Of course.
once we finish talking to Lady Barrowcrest, I'll show you to him.
I'd be happy to do it.
And also, every time she's around Olwyn, there is like the hair is like pulled in front of the scar. Like she's very like. You've probably noticed there's a scar there, but she manages to keep it pretty like hidden.
Hang on, I think I might need to do a roll here. Gotta figure out what it would be. Yeah, there's not really a tactful versus that, is there?
Sorry, I was muted. What are you looking to test?
If there's a, I don't know if that would be like prudent versus reckless or anything, but
merciful versus cruel.
I can help with that. What are you aiming
it's
for?
like it's the idea of like if Olwyn would say something about the scar or like bring attention to it, because Iranwi is clearly
courtesy is
clearly hiding it, and I don't know if it's like a shame thing or what, or if it
courtesy 100%.
has courtesy.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And I think short of a fumble would be like, wow, what happened to your face? Like that would be a fumble, right? Like anything short of that, I think is kind of up in the air. Let's put it that way. So
that was
a failure doesn't.
Failure.
Maybe you draw attention to it, but not in the most discourteous way. Like just enough to be like, sometimes you say something that's not totally meant for or intent, but someone's like, what does that mean?
Do I? Yeah. I do that all the time.
I do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking anyway. Aronwi, might I ask you a question?
Of course.
Forgive me if it comes off as... Why do you do that?
Do what?
The hiding.
Oh, I got hurt a bit in the raids too. I just don't like how it looks, I guess.
I suppose that's understandable, but you don't. I can support. I don't want you to feel embarrassed about it. I know that a lot of people can be cruel about other people's looks, and if you're hiding it because you think I will, don't.
That's kind, but it's pretty gruesome. I wouldn't want to do that to you.
May I?
Oh boy. She kind of like flinches away a bit, but then uses her own hand to kind of like wincing, like, and it does look quite bad. Like there's the gums are like jacked up, the lip is like snarled up. You can see like the roots of her teeth. Like It ain't pretty.
Courtesy test for both of you, not to have a
Yeah, I
bad
was
reaction
just
to that.
gonna see if I should
Does
roll
it-
something.
Like, this is probably... So, a fumble would be, like, really bad. Like, that's where you, like, gasp or,
Or I
like,
throw up.
double take.
A gasp of horror.
Yeah.
Please let my luck hold. No.
We literally got the
I was
inverse of
doing
each
so
other's
well.
roll.
Yes.
But
I was
I
doing so
succeeded.
well.
That's
Like,
okay.
here's the social embarrassment.
Yeah, I think Beatrice, you've never seen that kind of wound before on
Yeah.
someone's face.
Oh, it's. I won't lie and say it's not bad, because that would be.
That would be a little untruthful.
It will be. But it's unique. It makes you you. And thank you for trusting me with it.
Of course. And she kind of like puts the hair back over it. Sorry for scaring you, Beatrice.
It wasn't fear, it was more surprise. I don't get a lot of sights like wounds that bad typically. Not where I'm from, at least.
I hadn't either until I had one of my own. I completely understand.
You don't necessarily need to hide it around me either. Believe me,
I
the
guess I feel
shock
more
is the shock,
comfortable.
but I don't. That's fair.
Raids were pretty awful. I lived in a place where I lost my own. At one of them, I was lucky. I don't know how much of my family made it.
You still don't know.
There's part of me that hopes that they got out and we just got separated. Maybe got lost in the woods. Something. Found some other family to live with. Someone adopted them. They were all older than me. Maybe they found jobs. But I can only hope for so long. For so many miracles. It was one that I got out alive. I think all the spirits were with me.
It's difficult to get word to people, especially if they don't know where you are. So maybe they're just as worried about you.
At that point, you hear Lady Gwynedd coming. You can hear her heels clicking on the stone.
Gosh, fancy.
She looks like she's in a bit of a whirlwind. You know, picture that, like, mom at Thanksgiving energy when she's hosting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mixed with a little bit of Devil Wears Prada, like, definitely that vibe. And she looks at the three of you and she says, "Oh, good, perfect, you arrived. Okay, so we're going to have to come up with some things very shortly. We have 4 days. Lots to do. Okay, 3. That's not going to be good enough. And oh, Owen, you're 18 now, yes? Okay, you're a maiden. Perfect. Handmaidens. Beatrice, Erinwe, you are handmaidens to Owen now.
Right? What does that mean?
Well, you're to attend to Lady Olwyn at the upcoming feast.
Oh!
What is Aaron Lee? What is Aaron Lee's reaction here? Especially, I imagine Beatrice has one too, but I'm
Beatrice.
I'm particularly interested in the squire that just got told that they're going to be a handmaiden.
Very confused, still a little bit like catching up to this information of like, I'm gonna be handmaiden. What's a handmaiden? Okay, I understand that now. There's what feast? We're having and I'm gonna be at the, and what does Olwen even need? Like, she's very like 5 steps behind wherever the hell Lady Barrowcrest is going with it.
Perfect, because she's gonna keep going and leave you those 5 steps behind. What is
Queen.
Beatrice's answer?
Beatrice's journey was like excitement at something happening, having an idea of what it was, and being excited about it, and then immediate disappointment.
Perfect.
It turns into very tightly controlled expressions of kind of like very tight-lipped, like kind of stand a little straighter, like staring at the floor, like the very like I'm trying to control myself.
Oh, the teenager's cranky.
I was gonna say, not that she would say anything, but more so she's trying to control her facial expressions a little bit. Be like, it's fine, it's totally fine.
She looks to all of you real quick as she's kind of walked past you, almost like she's gonna keep going, but she stops and she's like, right, so we're gonna need staff. My staff is a bit light these days, as are, well, I don't have any knights, and this should be fine. Aaronwy, you have family here in town, yes? And
I do.
Family perhaps available? Sisters, brothers, maybe a mother, father, maybe both?
My dad can't come. His leg's bad, but I have some sisters. I've got
Perfect.
My mom.
Let them know that we will need staff immediately. They will be rewarded.
Okay. Yes, my lady.
And she goes to walk past and she's like, I was going to ask, I'm missing a key. I just wanted to make sure that none of you took it. You know the room down the hall, the bedchamber? It's always locked.
That's a bedchamber? I thought it might be a closet.
No.
Because Arami's a good girl and she didn't go in there.
Anyways, I can actually. She's gonna kind of look all over you all. Beatrice.
I genuinely don't have the key.
Yeah, but you have a look of wonder on your face. Why don't you test for me, like,
Oh God, this is my worst nightmare. Like as an
test deceitful to try and keep a straight face.
Oh no. Guys, I'm so scared. Where's deceitful?
Oh, do you have the pagan stats?
I think we're all pagan.
I do have the pagan stats. This is terrifying.
You, Emily.
Y'all pray for me. Please. Oh my god, I'm so scared.
Oh, no! No!
So, what does this fumble mean? Because I think that's great. First off, tick. Actually, you won't tick deceitful because you didn't succeed.
No, don't tick deceitful.
You can tick honest, though. You can tick honest for that.
You get even worse at lying.
I get even worse at lying.
You messed up once.
Oh
and you're
my
like,
god.
I'm not gonna learn from this.
Guys! That's the first fumble I've ever had. That hurt.
Oh,
Don't worry,
no.
there'll be more.
Oh god.
Okay, so
This is my worst social nightmare.
Is this Beatrice? like failing to. Does she blurt out the truth, or is it more like she digs a hole for herself? Like, oh no, I've never been in the bedroom with that guy, or like, the gore tricks
How much
moment,
of the
or
truth are we talking?
yeah, well, fumbles. It's gotta be.
It's gonna be a lot.
It can be on your
Be
face,
so
though.
honest.
It could be.
Can it rather be on my face?
Yeah, you're just. I think it's so on your face that everyone sees it. So Aaron, me, and Olwen, you both look at her too, at the 14-year-old, and she holds out her hand and she says, "The key, Beatrice."
I genuinely don't have the key.
It's not funny.
I don't have the key. I saw into the room, but that's all. The door was left open.
All right. Fair. So her response to that.
Not lying.
She's trusting too. So let's see how this goes.
She's gonna roll horribly. She's gonna fumble trusting.
She did not.
Oh, thank God.
All right. So the fumble is. It's bad, but she seems to believe you with that. And she says, "So it's missing then." All right.
I'll keep an eye out for it. Sorry, I looked in the room.
I suppose we should talk about that, but not now. Things are busy now.
Yes, of course.
And then she goes and she's like, Aaron, we once you have your family gathered, whoever is willing to join us, just send them up here and we'll get them started.
Right. What would they be doing?
Well, cleaning this place, tending to it, serving food. Do any of them cook by chance?
My mom and my sisters.
Perfect.
And okay.
So she's
all right.
Yeah. She's very much just kind of like, you can tell. Olwen, I'll give this test intrigue, Olwen, actually.
By the way, Beatrice looks like she wants to be swallowed up into the ground.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I bet.
We're there, like.
Okay.
Today's not going well
Success
for
on
her.
intrigue, baby.
Perfect. So you know that this is not a poorly tended to staff. This is like a non-existent staff. Like, she's mentioning cooks, cleaning, servers. She doesn't have a staff. That doesn't seem like a good way to run a manor. Usually kind of infers that there's not a lot of wealth going on there. Like, perhaps the opposite of that?
Destitute.
It's a bad way to run a manor. There's actually mechanics behind it. So.
Oh damn, she's even doing bad mechanically.
Yikes.
Girl, your stats, we gotta get them up.
So, with that, she turns to like leave, and about the same time, you see Rickard wander in.
He's up?
I
He's wandering around?
immediately go to him. Like,
Boy just looks at you three and kind of offers like almost like a startled look at first, is because you all react the way you do, but it's a familiar smile from there. Like, he just looks confused a bit.
You doing all right, Rickard?
Where is this place?
we're in Barrowcrest Manor. And I kind of try to, smooth his hair out of his face and just look in his eyes and, do the whole, like, quick little checkup.
It's in Summerland, if you know where that is.
He kind of shivers when you say that, actually.
Summerland? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, Rickert.
So,
But he looks like confused and he looks at the ground. He doesn't look like he's, well, this is the first time we've seen him up. But he looks like there are days where he looks more with it and days where he doesn't. This looks more like a day where he doesn't.
I strange in a good way to see you up and about. Got some pep?
Have I been sleeping long? I feel like I've been sleeping long. I don't remember feeling this weak.
He hasn't been talking this much, right?
No.
Like, this is...
No, not like,
Oh!
well, yeah, he has been talking a lot.
Exciting.
He's been saying 3 things. I want to go home.
I want to go home.
I want to go home, and I want to go home.
Okay, so he's saying new things, which is very exciting.
And a
Full
lot of
sentences.
so.
Yeah.
These sounding pretty good.
Rickert, do you remember what happened to you?
No.
Might be for the best. Do you know where home is?
Is it here?
I don't think so. Do you remember your family? Brothers, sisters, parents?
I don't think I had any.
Oh,
Don't remember, anyways.
well, we'll be your sisters until you figure it out. Well, I can't speak for Beatrice.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Only Beatrice or Ronway.
Only Beatrice.
Ronway for that
It's like
matter.
presumptuous in 2 different directions. 'Cause, like, I can't speak for Beatrice. I will speak for Ronway.
Or a Ronway. I pause for dramatic effect.
You've
But I'd be happy to.
Of course.
You've been asleep a while. You should probably get used to walking around bit by bit. I wouldn't recommend all at once. Eat, drink.
Okay.
You have been sleeping a lot.
He nods. You're used to that. That was like most of his responses when you gave him orders or anything of the sort before about resting or anything of the sort. He responded with nods and was kind of silent. But that he kind of turns back and is like, I think I'm gonna go lay down again. I'm feeling
Alright.
dizzy.
Do you want help?
Would you like me to walk you back to your room? And she'll kind of put her hand on his back.
He doesn't really
Finish
respond,
with
but you can tell he's weak, so he just kind of accepts if anyone is going to, but he doesn't really respond to the question.
Yeah, kind of put light pressure in between his shoulder blades from my fingertips, just like a gentle sort of guiding motion.
Alright. We're going to move forward. There's a bit of a montage we're going to complete in the way of... so you are all run off your feet over the next little bit here. There's a montage of you probably doing a whole bunch of stuff you're not okay with. For Owen, it's probably a bit more like high chores, so it would be more like planning the decorations, and you can see Owen with Erin Wee's sisters as she's pointing to things, and one of them's on a high ladder kind of thing, trying to the older sister, the one that's very hard worker, right? I think we defined her as.
Yeah, Floria's a hard worker.
Why don't you test energetic for me, all of you, first and foremost?
Good. And
Oh my goodness.
just to double check, the 5 is still active.
Yeah, till the
Okay, it's got
till
it. It is.
specifically
It's
the
on
feast ends.
everything. Got it. Perfect. Yeah.
The only one that succeeded is the one doing high chore.
Yeah, makes a lot
Oh
of
my
sense.
God. Well, yeah.
Don't
It
be
It really
praised.
does.
Because there's a scene with like
Exhausting.
Beatrice like just like up on a a ladder, like brushing like some soot off of the top of like a really high reach corner. She almost falls off the ladder for a second. And you can see beneath Beatrice is what's his name? Grifflet is holding the ladder. And he holds the ladder and he smiles like he's bracing the ladder for Beatrice.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's allowed to come for like party prep, but I'm not. He's going back home to dad when the actual party starts. I don't trust that boy.
Got it.
Oh.
I would like to. I would
I'm
like
gonna
to
sneak
add
him
that
in.
if Olwen tries to give me any direction at all, the minute she turns her back, Beatrice is doing a very childish thing. She's sticking her tongue out at her when she walks away.
Very good. Love that.
For Aaron Wee, you're out tending in the stables. Give me a dex roll as you recognize just a second too late that you're about to step forward into a bucket.
Oh boy! All right.
I love
failed again.
montages.
In goes the foot.
It was almost a crit. Ooh. In goes the foot. This is so fun and exciting. I love this.
What's her reaction? What does Aaron Wee do in this unspoken montage of images?
She failed energetic, so she's having a day. She's so exhausted, and now she's stepped in a bucket, and she's just like, and then she just keeps on going. She is so miserable.
Perfect. So we're gonna kind of end the scene. It's it shows like one more where Olwen's going by, like pointing out some decorations. A couple people follow her, and Beatrice and Aaron are just like sprawled out on the ground as Olwen comes by.
What are you doing?
All right, and with that, we'll actually, Olwen, you can tick energetic for that one. That was one of those moments. So we end this montage with kind of catching up to date. All of you are now prepped for it. It is the day of the feast, and the guests are arriving. Why don't we maybe get you all to give me the descriptions of what your characters look like right now in this particular moment?
Would Aranwi have anything suitable for a handmaiden? Does she know what is suitable for a handmaiden?
It would have been a necessity for you to do so, and Olwen could have helped probably with that.
Cool. Then she looks like that. She probably got Edane's help, looking at least kind of presentable. She does have her hair pulled over the jacked up eye, because her friends said that they were fine with it, but we've got guests, and that's not great.
Right. As the feast is kind of prepped and starting to be underway, Edane is going to be your sister. Edane, Aaron Wee, is going to be a server. Flory and your mother are going to be cooking, leading the kitchen, and Grifflet has been sent home.
He cannot be trusted. He can't be.
Yeah.
If I see him, he's getting let in.
You.
Chaos.
We're so as all of you kind of see, you recall specifically Lady Gwyn had said, like, prepare for 5 to 10 knights, as well as perhaps a few more nobles that might come to visit and answer the call. The first 5 or 10 minutes go by, and there's 10, 15 knights, then another 10 knights, another 10 nights.
No. Many
It-
plus ones.
It is busy in here. It is mostly, almost predominantly men, and I'll give all of you. You can test either. Aaron, I will let you test your squire, which is your age in this case. Olwen, you can test maybe courtesy, intrigue. We'll go with intrigue. Beatrice, intrigue.
I succeeded.
The check doesn't do anything for me in this moment, correct?
No, it doesn't.
I also succeeded.
Beatrice.
Oh,
I did a thing. It was like, we're gonna save you from that embarrassing fumble. Here.
All right, so I think you all pick up on the fact that these nights are. I think for Olwen, you're like, this is foreboding. Like, why is this specifically a whole bunch of young men? For Aaron predominantly. For Aaron it's most of them aren't dressed with coat of arms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think Olin would have probably picked up on the coat of arms thing. For Aaron it's more like you recognize that they're wearing. A lot of them are wearing more patchy armor. Like, they don't look like well-to-do knights.
Uh-oh.
For Beatrice, you know that Equinox, the pagans often play games, particular hunts, things like that. It's often a sign of, spring, fertility, all the things that come with that. You're getting a sense that this is a bit of a setup, but you're not entirely sure.
A setup for what?
Perhaps for Olwen.
Do I know?
Yeah, no. Olwen immediately, when she saw so many people, she was immediately like, I've been bamboozled.
We've been had.
Strange things are afoot
We
at
messed with a
the
bunch of
Circle
people.
K.
Speaking of Olwen being set up, what does she look like with all of these handsome young men around?
Some of them are old and greasy too. I don't know that.
Some of these handsome and also
There's always
old
a
and
few.
greasy men around?
This is
Well-
this is a stark contrast from the last feast that Olin was at. A lot of these men are hardly they're barely presentable. I guess it's more like a bunch of barbarians with armor on than it is like
That's
a bunch of.
fine.
Uh-oh.
To answer your question, Megan, she's taken like little tiny flowers and just kind of like had like a braid of her like super bright red hair and kind of braided some like spring flowers into it.
Cute.
It's like not the whole hair is braided, but it's kind of got like a single braid kind of going around.
So kind of like pretty looking, maybe like eligible looking even.
Unintentionally so.
Yeah.
Because it's one of these like, oh, if I had any idea, I would not have like been so cute. I can't believe I'm so cute, and that's gonna pay off. That
You're like,
sucks.
put
That
bedhead
sucks,
in.
that sucks real bad for me. I'm not gonna undo it because I look real good, and that took time.
God
I'm
damn it.
gonna complain the whole time.
so I will
So glad I'm your handmaiden.
I'll give you
Yeah.
a choice here. What are your thoughts? Like, you can choose to test suspicious versus trusting on Lady Gwynedd, or you can choose to simply take a stance of one or the other.
I think honestly, Aranwi is not even thinking about Olwen because she doesn't know that Olwen already got set up. She's thinking about the knight that she was with recently.
Okay.
He did the same exact thing. These guys might be angling for like something from Lady Barrowcrest. This might be a surprise for her because she told us to expect a certain number of people. She was so worried about this whole thing. like
Mhm.
going off right, she wouldn't have lied to the staff that is trying to make everything work well. Like,
There's
she wouldn't have shot herself in the foot, essentially.
there's like a part of me I feel that's thinking like, oh, she's been super scatterbrained lately. That,
She
I mean,
just
like
forgot.
I'll still roll, but I feel like if trusting wins
You
out,
don't have to. You can choose one, or you can roll them if you're not sure.
Well,
If you're
there's
not sure,
kind of
roll
like-
them for funsies.
yeah, I'm not sure, but I can see like both sides of it, so I'm gonna do a cheeky little roll.
That's
trusting
always
versus
rolling
suspense.
versus on a I'm not sure is always the best. It's one of the best features of the game.
Does it-
I'm not
That's something I
Dude,
really
should I-
like.
Oh, I
about the game.
critical this.
Should I bother adding the +5 since it's like
Not if you're doing a roll off. I don't think so.
okay,
If you were
Yeah.
like really opposed to one side or the other and it was forcing you to roll off, then you could. But
right? Well,
Well, you're
that's
not
failure
suspicious.
unsuspicious
necessarily,
unless
you fumble on trusting.
I don't know if it went through. I'll try rolling it again.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. All right.
Tick trusting.
So yeah, for trusting, Owen has like the briefest of oh no, but then she thinks, oh, Lady Gwyned's been really scatterbrained lately. Maybe she accidentally sent off like the invitations like way more than she intended, or just forgot how many she sent out. Or did not say, like, don't invite anybody, this is a closed event.
Right.
She's just kind of like, there's gotta be a reason. Because, especially with that intrigue roll from earlier about her staffing and her, everything being just low, like, destitute. She would not have said, I can only afford, or she didn't, but she would not have been like, I can only afford to feed like 5 nights and have staffing for this many people and then have like 15 people show up. That seems insane.
So why don't you go ahead and test trusting? Or not test, check trusting. That's what I meant to say.
Got it.
That then goes to Emily. Or were you
I'd
rolling
like
off?
to be suspicious.
Okay, so take it. Yep.
Based off her prior interactions, I feel like she's just like, she
So-
came here and was destitute. There's a whole lot of things. So
Right.
she's super suspicious.
Go ahead and tick suspicious.
Yep.
And then for Aaron Wee, how do you think your logic applies here? Is this more a call for prudent? Like, does this represent her analytical kind of frame of not being reckless and being like, oh, this is probably a good reason we can wait it out? Or
Let me see. I think, okay. Could still be. Here's the thing: she's trusting, like, Lady Gwyned, but she's so suspicious of these knights. She thinks that they're the ones who are up to something.
do you want to test then? Just see what you land at? What's winning out? Your trust for Lady Gwynedd versus your suspicion for the knights? Is that kind of the idea?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely.
Well, I think your fumble on trusting is gonna tells us enough. There.
Oh no!
You are dead set on like, what are these knights up to?
What are these knights up to?
Yeah.
Genuinely, yeah.
That is you're kind of it's almost like ingrained, like you're stuck on it tonight. So your penalty for the fumble is just you're gonna have that on the brain. You're almost like impassioned by it, right? So.
I think she was definitely gonna, like, she came around on Govnan after she talked to her dad about it, and he was like, well, you know, he's in a tough situation too. And she's like, that's fine because he came here with me, but all these guys are just showing up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. What's their game? I think I know their game, but I don't like it.
Okay. That's very, very reasonable. Okay, so let's dive in here. I think you absolutely have to test suspicious for that fumble. Or not test, check.
Tick suspicious?
Check, yeah. For that fumble.
I can't believe I don't already have that.
Right?
Like, tick.
Like, why is that a
Right,
30?
you gave me a directed trait last time for all of me being sus.
That's what it was. Yeah.
But now I get to tick it too. I'm just gonna worldly suspicious. Nothing's getting past me.
All right, so then the next part is we are going to cut over. Let's see if this works. We're going to cut over to the Roll20 map and see if this actually... All right. Everything seems pretty good. I can gently maneuver the cameras to get everyone in the frame. And then the last thing I wanted to kind of go over before we get started.
No, I gotta be so still.
Why don't you, for Rebecca, you're gonna have to test your appearance because you're starting this to see where you seat. For Aaron, Wee, and Beatrice, you have no seat. Your seat is the floor when you wish to eat. You cannot pull cards. You can do the other things.
On the floor, baby.
That's the crit.
There you go.
Whoa!
So you are
hell yeah!
above the salt.
Yeah.
Which works out, would be like really good for you. Except now you're on display.
Oh shit!
Again. Oh, you're the prettiest girl in the room. Derogatory.
Derogatory.
Okay.
God.
So, and we'll start this off. I'll give you, it's a 2-round feast. There seems to be something else being organized. You know that specifically, well, I'll let you test a couple of different things here. You can test on what is the special event after the feast. That's something you can look into. That will be an intrigue roll to figure that out. Or you can use an awareness or intrigue roll to look around the general audience here. Recognize would also apply if you have recognize. And you can test that way just to see who's here other than Lady Gwynedd, because it looks pretty unpopulated at this point. So we'll start maybe in reverse order with Megan. What would Aaron Wee's focus be here?
I think Arnwee's focus, first and foremost, these men? What is up with them?
Perfect.
So she's probably going to be talking to Edane, who is a server tonight, for twofold reasons. One, these men don't seem reputable, and you're quite pretty. Be careful. And two, if they say anything, like, weird, we need to figure that out. We need to know what's going on.
Do you have your sword out when you're saying that part? No.
You know what?
Yeah.
I don't think she's allowed to carry a sword as a handmaiden,
You're
but
not.
she
Yeah.
might be scouting around for, heavy objects to pick up in an emergency.
Why don't you give me an awareness? Not for that, even though it lines up really well. Why don't you give me an awareness test? I think that reflects.
Awareness test for improvised weapons.
Yeah.
If I've failed again, Bob. I'm not doing good tonight.
You bump into one of the knights. They're a bit they're not that much taller than you, but they're a bit burly, and when you hit them, you just kind of like bounce off them.
Boing. Oh, that's hilarious.
They look at you and raise a brow and they say, "Why don't you watch where you're going?" And when they say that, it's rude, first off. But you realize that it is not a male knight. It is a female knight.
Oh my gosh, girl boss? Girl power? Oh my god, it's Brandon!
So she
Hi,
just,
Brandon!
yeah, she just says, "Watch where you're going," and then she keeps walking.
Aranwi has seen a woman knight. She's starstruck instantly. Oh my god. Girl knight? Girl? Knight? Abs so hard I bounced off of them? Incredible. I want that to be me. Why can't that be me?
Why can't that be me?
I want to be her so bad it makes me look stupid.
It makes me look stupid.
So, Emily, I think it's your turn at this point. What did you want to do? Did you want to see if you recognize anyone here or recognize anything in particular in here, or would you rather kind of try and get a sense of what this after event is all about?
Yeah, I feel like Beatrice is pretty solid in the knowledge that she's not going to know anyone, like, ever. She's barely been here. So she's more so trying to figure out what this is for exactly. So she's a vague idea. She'd like to know a little more in detail. And if possible, I'd also like to see how Lady Gwynedd is reacting to a lot of this. Because, like, this isn't what she told us was going to happen.
That's very, very fair.
So,
I think,
both trying to figure out what the after thing is and figuring out how she's handling this.
Okay, why don't you test for me? You're gonna make an intrigue roll, but because of your critical on the last intrigue, you're at a +10 for one roll.
Ooh.
Because it's directly related.
I was gonna be really upset if that was a failure.
Alright, so
Okay.
So Lady Gwynedd, despite she's a high courtesy character, so despite her you can tell, that she's putting on a face. 100% is putting on a face. She's wearing it well, but she is super stressed about the outcome. This seems to have foiled some of her plans. She seems to be whispering things to a couple of the servants, specifically pacing about when she's not like in the limelight. You see her pacing about and sipping from her wine glass, but she's not a big drinker typically.
And did I find out anything about the after?
Yes. So you've heard of knights in your land specifically, especially because there are a lot of pagans in Summerland. They'll play games of effectively like mocking a hunt, kind of lined up with the concepts of like courting and spring and all that nonsense. So there's probably something to do. You remember hearing something specifically about eggs, gathering lots of them. You figure that they're likely to be some sort of egg hunt, though you don't know exactly what that looks like or what that entails.
Okay. Yeah, she'll keep on listening at the edges of the room.
Okay. Yeah, and it's kind of what that is. That's picking up on some of the gossip.
Oh yeah.
Like the lowborn on the floor.
Yeah. She doesn't stop doing it. It's more so them saying, like, she learned things, she's still doing the same thing as she goes.
Last but not least, Olwen.
Owen is curious about what we're eating at the feast.
That's fair. To roll that.
Yes.
Oh,
Almond
hell,
cake served
yes.
on roundels. Oh, that's
Incredible.
Sounds so good.
Do we get any of it though?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, we just
course.
have to eat it on the floor.
You think I'm
Whatever
gonna
is
let my
left,
handmaiden
you get on the
starve?
floor.
That's true. They throw it to us like dogs.
Owen will make sure that they eat.
Thank you.
Oh.
What a kind boss
If
for one
I'm
night.
allowed.
Speaking of dogs, there are some on the floor.
Doggies.
That's where dogs go, and squires.
And us.
As handmaids, you wouldn't be expected
Beatrice along?
to be there other than to sit and eat. Like you would be expected to attend to Owen, so you can use that as your excuse if you feel particularly embarrassed for being, on the floor. You can use I'm tending to Olwyn as an excuse. Let's throw that out there.
Wandering around talking to random guests. Yeah, I'm tending to Olwen wherever she is.
Olwyn, I'm just gonna make you roll an intrigue, actually.
Wonderful.
Or recognize if you.
Okay. You know what? I think I'm gonna risk the recognize, because even though my intrigue is better, I kind of want to try and recognize some people.
You're still impassioned, right?
I am.
Ooh, all right. Well,
Yeah. It's still a failure. Cry. It's an 11 out of 7 failure.
Okay. You see, one night in particular, he walks by you, and Owen, what's your appearance, just for the purpose of understanding why she's getting this attention? What have we learned?
My Owen's appearance? Owen's appearance is a 28.
28.
Yeah. 28?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's features in the game related to maidens and a massive boost they get, the noble ladies or whatever. It has to do with the fashion and everything else. I think Guinevere and those topics of Arthurian legend, right? So, fairest lady in the land kind of concepts.
That is little baby.
So this guy walks by. You see he has, shorter kept hair, definitely wearing banded mail of some sort, and he's got a goatee, dark hair, and just very cold eyes. But as he walks by you, he smiles and says, "Lady Olwen," and he continues on.
I don't like that.
Oh no. Does he say it just like that though?
Yep.
Oh boy. Huh. Oh no.
Should we kill that guy? Maybe?
Yeah. Maybe. I want him dead. I want his family dead.
Knock him over the head, drag him outside.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So
Sensible courses of action.
Oh.
We're gonna start at the top of the round. Round 1, Lady Olwen.
I see. And that's all of our options available to us, like the games, the card, flirt, intrigue. Cool. I like the cards. They're very fun.
Oh, you are. I don't know if you can pull them. Actually, you cannot right now. You're above the salt.
Oh, because I'm above. That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
I have to rely on my own damn self.
Yeah, there's also a thing with glory where you have to be at 1,000 glory, and I gotta look into when you earn that. You're of age now, so I think you might have it. I don't know. Gotta look into it. It might be.
Right.
We'll look into it for the next piece, I promise. But for now, it doesn't matter because you're above the salt.
All right. I'm going to. I'm gonna try and talk with some guests. Probably get an intrigue roll. The idea is to learn about everyone's deal and what all is going on and why there's so many damn people here.
Okay. Sure.
But also just be generally social.
Okay. Sounds good. Go ahead and give me an intrigue roll.
It's a fumble.
Rip. Okay.
Fumble.
the-
You got
The fumbles. Yeah. They're always when things matter. That's how it works.
yeah.
You're talking.
Oh, God is mad at me for being hot.
Yeah, you're mingling, and I think it's more a matter of like people are playing the courtesy game more than they are willing to gossip and mingle, because you're rather than you just being you know what works really well when you're doing intrigue, when you're not the center of attention. It really helps. When you're center of attention, it makes every conversation you have awkward. On top of that, you kind of turn to leave, and you see a particular familiar face. Right there.
No!
This motherfucker.
No, this man!
Get him out of here.
I hate him. I want him dead.
Perfect. So the plan's working. Yeah. All right. So he nods to you, and you realize at this point this guy is standing not too far from him, and you realize, oh yeah, you remember seeing this guy with Sir Luff at your last feast. So Luff just says, "My lady, it is wonderful to see you again."
Tears. Wait.
Oh no, is she?
No, she's not. She's not actually. I'm just being the saddest little baby in the room right now.
Okay. What is Olwen's? What do you think Olwen's response is?
She's gonna be very much the like fake smile, I imagine, given like very oh, so Leaf, was it? So.
Oh, you remember my name. I'm pleased.
You did make rather an impression on me.
Good. I'd hoped you'd say that. You know, I must admit that I left the last feast, and well, you haven't left my mind since. I really had no understanding of where you were to go. Well, until your aunt reached out to me. She had mentioned that you were here, and I'd heard, well, it seemed that amongst the mercenary knights, there was some kind of incentive to be here. I don't know the details. I know it has to do with a game, but I'd hoped it was perhaps you reconsidering your hand. Now is not a good time to discuss those things, but I just wanted to say that it's wonderful to see you again.
Yes. I'm certain it is. Perhaps we'll see each other later in peace. Now, I think I decided to give wine another try.
You turn, and Aaron Lee's sister's there with serving wine just at that time.
Thank you.
All right, so with that, we're gonna go to
Myself. Done this embarrass myself.
We're on to Emily. What
Hey.
is Beatrice going to do here? So, where are the options? Are they in a pamphlet? Is that where they are? One of the handouts?
I don't know. There's a card.
The
Is it the
card overview?
random?
No.
No.
I don't know. Where did you read out the options, Rebecca? Did you read them from somewhere or not so much?
I did not read them from somewhere. I just remember
Okay.
that it's flirt, cards, games, and intrigue. Those were the options that I was given the last time.
So gaming, intrigue, flirt. So intrigue can cover like gossip or that sort of thing. Flirting's obvious, gaming's obvious. You can't pull a card because you don't have over 1,000 glory. And then, am I missing anything? Oh, you can. That might be a good one for a commoner. You can indulge in food or drink. That is always an option.
So just eating and drinking.
Yeah, that is. I mean, it might backfire if you get drunk, but you know.
Yeah.
Don't criticize. It should be good. And you can choose.
I think she's going to keep up her listening to the gossip of the room because let's be honest, no one's here to talk to her.
Okay.
So I think she's kind of, for lack of a better describing term, lurking, and kind of trying to listen to the gossip on either what is going on or whatever people are saying.
Okay, sounds good. Why don't you, real quick for me, test, and this will just be a random test, this isn't your roll, but test indulgent for me, please. Or temperate. Test temperate.
Temperate?
Yeah. Okay, so you don't have to act on this at all. This wasn't your choice. All it means is you are a 14-year-old commoner who is smelling the best food you've ever smelled in your entire life, and you're watching it come out in, on trays, just a mass quantity, right?
Yeah.
So, no, that's more for a reaction. I just wanted to give you that cinematic. I think the character feels like, you're not acting on it, but you're. Oh man.
Yeah, if she has a chance to grab the teeniest, tiniest piece of almond roll, eat it while she's
there we go.
She absolutely will. Listen, if the opportunity has arisen, she's taking it. So yeah, if there's little pieces of things that she's just all right, as she's going.
Yeah.
Particularly the almond rolls, because that sounds amazing.
As a handmaiden too, you can always choose to just roll courtesy, which would just be, I'm looking like I know what I'm doing. That's it. That's all that would do for you. But you absolutely make your intrigue on picking up gossip.
Okay.
Yeah, the courtesy roll, I'm just throwing it out there for future rounds. If you're out of ideas, it's always a thing.
Okay. So intrigue, and I'm back to my normal, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh. No, so with a failure, you spend some time listening. I think this is gossip that you've heard already, and some of it's ridiculous.
Some of it's the gossip that you're okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gossip about folk that aren't even here. There's nothing in particular that's great in here. And some of it's around, I think, gossip that you wouldn't care that much about, how swamped the kitchen is, having to feed this many guests when they expected 10 to 15. That's about it. So.
All right.
But you do not make a fool of yourself in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's small victories, guys.
Sometimes that's all there is.
Especially after earlier.
Good for you, Beatrice.
And we'll go on to Megan.
Alright, so I do have one thing, but I think that can wait until the second round. The next round is the last round, right?
Correct.
Okay. So I will put off harassing Branwen. I'm so sorry, ma'am. Until next round. But for now, I'm gonna roll a passion.
All right, give her.
One of my sadder, smaller passions. I've failed. Okay.
Doesn't mean anything because it's such a low passion. You don't get punished for just a failure on it.
Yeah. So I rolled that because like she likes Lady Barrowcrest. I mean, she's nice enough.
Mm-hmm.
And also feels kind of bad for her because she was really stressed out this whole week. And then it is not going quite as expected, so
True.
she's still going to like wander around and try to like find out what in the world is going on here, but maybe, you know, without the passion of to help Lady Barrowcrest. Now she's just like, what in the world is happening here?
All right. Sounds like an intrigue to me.
Oh, must it be?
Do
Oh,
you have a 0 on intrigue? You do, don't you?
I've got a 0 on intrigue, Bob. I was so close to leveling it up, over the winter phase, and I did not.
I will allow you to test courtesy to be in the right spot to overhear something.
Cool.
Oh!
What?
Oh!
Yeah,
Bob, I actually did it.
I know.
I'm so proud of you.
Take
Take-
that then, right? 'Cause
Yeah, you
it's
take
below
it. 'cause-
5.
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
Oh, I am so courteous.
Okay. Is there any particular, like, I guess your focus is on the knights you don't trust? Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely the like less reputable knights, the ones that are a little bit seedier, where it's like, what's up with you, buddy? Why are you here in my house, essentially?
I think you walk by. I'm going to give you a bit of a twofer on this one. So the first little bit is you walk by a group of knights, and their eyes are on Olwyn, and one of them leans over to the other one and says, "Let's hope this hunt is worthwhile." And the other guy toasts him and says, "You can have the girl." He's like, "I want a seat at the court."
I want to see it at the court.
At the court. So probably these are mercenary knights looking for, this one is looking to be landed here at the house.
That is what Aranwi suspected, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you walk by these two in particular, Sealoff and Cadogan, and I think with Cadogan, I think Cadogan, what you overhear. So this isn't you participating; this is you just being a perfect little fly on the wall that no one's paying attention to. Yeah.
Just a servant. Why would they pay attention to me?
Sir Loft says, whatever this is for, specifically for, those who are unlanded. And Cadogan says, yes, that's where I come in, right? You had a plan? And he said, only to represent my vested interest in this. You know where my heart lies. And yeah. And they both look over at Olwyn in that, like, you know, textbook villain kind of look, right?
Are we gonna have a one of those like between rounds like party meeting
Absolutely. Yeah. That's coming right now, actually. So
incredible.
So the round ends, and you all get a chance. If you want to sync up, it makes sense with you both being handmaids of Olwyn. It would make a lot of sense here.
As soon as Aranwi hears that specifically, it's just like, whoa! Suddenly, I have to go do my job over there with Olwyn.
Beatrice has gone to Olwyn more so as a please make it stop. Yeah. So she's with. She just kind of appears next to Olwen.
This is so bonkers. I thought Aranwi was going to be the one that has the worst time at the, the feast.
Right?
Well, wait, there's more time. You never know what's gonna
That's
happen.
true.
Yeah.
Only halfway through.
Hey, do I need to test anything to see if Owen likes wine any more than she did the last time?
What did we test last time? I'm trying to remember.
It was
Courtesy, right?
courtesy. It was courtesy because it was more of a. You're asked about how the wine is.
You know what? Test your
and-
indulgent.
Oh.
Right. Cool. Oh.
It does typically get better with time.
It's a success.
Yeah, I think you're just like, you kind of make a face and then down goes the rest of the glass. Like because of the stress of this, you just shoot it. If you choose.
Yeah.
It
Rough
is.
night.
I would say that she's not like trying to get off her ass. Because given everything, she wants to be cognizant, but she just needs to be like do something. She's like,
Can I take the cup out of her hand? Just okay. She just kind of like, okay, takes the cup and puts it on whatever table's nearest us because she doesn't know what to do with it.
Right.
Like, okay, puts it down. How are you? How are you doing?
not well. I'm quite upset, actually. I might have made a mistake. Trying
In
to...
what way?
Oh, I wrote a letter to my aunt saying, hey, everything's fine. Don't worry. I'm doing lovely. And then that lady went and told so many people about my business. She's so kind to send friends, isn't she?
Is that why so many men are here?
I don't know. Possibly.
Oh,
I have a
no.
question about my interpretation of what you said, and I overheard. Because Aranwi might have something to add to this. It sounded like Uf was here for Olwen, but the unlanded knights, such as his horrific friend, were here specifically for Lady Barrowcrest because she is landed. Is that kind of the vibe?
There
Or are we
seems
really here for Olwen?
you only got a small sample of what's here, but you definitely heard two things. You heard about Owen for sure.
She's
but you
28
also
appearance. She's beautiful.
right, and you also heard about how do I put this? You heard that there was at least one knight that's interest was in finding a landed home. So mercenary knights are often kind of looked after through transactional kind of methods, right? They don't have a place that feeds them and shelters them for the winter and that they get to be an honored part of. They're like a hedge knight in Game of Thrones, like Song of Ice and Fire, that kind of thing. They roam, they fight battles a lot, they die a lot. They're kind of, they're not an uncommon type of knight in this era. There's not a lot of knights errant. They're just knights. They've been knighted, but they don't have a lord.
Okay.
The
So
lord
there's at
is
least
whoever's
one guy
paying
here.
them.
One guy here who is interested in possibly hitting on the lady of the house so that he can have a house himself. And was that oh boy. Cadgun?
No. That was just one of the random guys who came by.
Just a rando. Okay. Well then, Ramwi is going to lean down to Olwen and say, actually, I was meaning to ask you about that. That man over there, and she kind of like gestures towards Luff.
Yeah.
Oh,
She make a face. Make a
I
bad
was
face.
hoping it wasn't like that. He seems interested in you, which I assume you know
I
already.
do, and I do not return the sentiment. I don't know him that well, but I just feel like he's absolutely horrid.
He and his friends sounded like they were up to something. They were talking about plans, and his friend was saying, like, that's where I come in. And then that guy was talking about where his heart lies. And then they both looked at you. Just in case you didn't know, but it seems like you do.
I don't want to sound awful, but I wouldn't be sad if he disappeared forever in the mist of Barrowcrest. But I don't think I would be sad. I wouldn't
What's he doing
facilitate
here?
it myself, but
Do you think your aunt told him?
yeah, I do.
Oh. Sorry.
She's certainly just looking out for someone's best interest.
Is there a way to get rid of him for the night that we can think of?
I mean,
First thing coming to
We
mind
could
isn't
think
a
of-
very legal way. We should probably think of something else.
Yeah, I have a feeling that I know what you're thinking, and no, I was thinking one night. I don't know much about these kinds of things. If he had wine spilled on him, would he leave?
I feel like if somehow his food got tampered with and he had some of the more undercooked mustard meats, I feel like that might send his stomach spinning.
That
takes
badly on
time.
the Barrowcrest.
Yeah,
We know who's in the kitchen, don't we?
We do.
but it would reflect badly on the kitchen and
Would-
Lady Gwynedd.
Yeah, would Flory get in trouble or
It'd
Mom?
be really funny though.
I was going to say I could dump wine on him, but I don't know if he'd leave.
He'd be very embarrassed though.
Would be very
Mhm.
embarrassing.
Embarrassed in front of me. I'd never recover.
I don't think I'd ever recover either, but
Well,
you know,
you've got more time, and I feel like you've done worse.
yeah.
Sounds
Would
like
that
something
reflect-
an 18-year-old would say to a 14-year-old. You're
Yeah,
young.
exactly.
You're just a
good.
kid.
So young.
Yeah.
Do you think that would reflect badly on Lady Gwynedd if he were to somehow, unfortunately, get covered in wine?
That's just an honest mistake, isn't it?
And if you were to trip on him, it'd be real
It'd be his
mean of
fault.
him. It'd be real mean of him to trip a little girl, don't you think?
I mean,
Absolutely dreadful.
it looked
Okay.
very bad in front of the woman he's trying to woo, too.
Okay.
My own and maiden.
Yep. All right. Okay.
And if he's mean to you, I'll punch him in the face.
It's fine. I'm down to make this end however quickly we can. I'd really like it to be over. What do I have around me that has wine?
You did steal Owen's cup.
She
get-
drank all the wine in her
literally
cup. I took it away so they couldn't
I-
refill it.
You can grab it from you, Dane. We've got
Yeah.
someone passing out
Yeah.
wine.
Yep.
Chaos. All right. I'm gonna grab essentially. If there's a pitcher, I'm grabbing a pitcher.
First,
Ooh.
can we like look over at him and see that he's actually wearing fabric clothes and not
Yes.
just armor? Because
No,
that
no,
would.
Get nice
They're-
clothing.
They wear fabric. They don't wear their armor.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Because that would be so embarrassing. Oh no, I spilled it on your medal.
Because I'm the one-
Jane. Oh.
Just wipe it off.
Just kind of falls off, really.
Baby.
So, I have some questions before I do this. Is he in a group of people? Like, is he in like a larger group of people? Or is it just him and his, whatever you call him, just standing off and to the side?
He's pretty good at mingling, so he's
Okay.
going about.
That's
Yeah.
actually better.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Um.
mingling and playing the part.
So I'm going to fill a few cups as I go here. Just kind of
Okay.
fill cups. And as I walk by him, I would like to to trip on him and dump all the wine down his tunic.
For sure. Sounds like a plan. Let's start at the top of the round with or are we opting? Is this one of those things where we are opting? All these things kind of play out around the same time, right?
Hmm.
But are we opting to have Emily go first?
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm so panicked. You don't even know.
It's gonna be fun.
Okay,
It's
let's
gonna
do
be a good
it.
story.
All right. I think
all right.
in this case, what is your primary intention? Is your primary intention to look like it was an accident, or is your primary intention to be successful about getting it on him and covering him?
Probably making it look unintentional because it would be real bad if it looked intentional.
That is going to
That's
be a
my
deceitful
primary aim,
test.
but I would really, but I'd really love to be able to hit him with it. This isn't gonna go good, guys.
You can test. Do you have any passions?
What? Sorry, I was on the wrong
Horse
part.
god passion.
I was gonna say I have horse god passion, and then I have hatred
What was the hatred?
for the Irish.
Oh,
For the Irish.
No, that's not gonna work.
Is he Irish?
Like, imagine him as Irish.
And then my really
Yeah, I don't know.
sad-looking love for my family, which is not high at all. So probably horse god is the only one I got.
You can choose to. You don't have to.
Oh, this is so scary. Because if I roll bad on this, it's really bad, right?
Ah, could be fine.
Don't say it like that. But
If
Oh,
we were on,
no.
who said she would deck him in the face. So you've got that covered. If you goof,
Yes.
I'll just get in trouble too.
because if the horse god love is only really bad if I fumble, right? Or is it bad if I fail?
It's not. What is it at? Actually?
13.
No, it's not bad if you fail. Nope. It's only bad if you fumble. But even then, it's not terrible. You don't run off and go to your quiet place.
Oh, I failed.
Well, it's not a fumble, so...
It was really close to being fumbled.
Alright, let's see that deceitful roll.
Oh no.
You
Guys,
got
I'm so stressed. I'm so stressed. It's not even funny. Deceitful, please. Oh.
So I think it's one of those things where the way you do it,
Do I at least hit it?
you intend to stumble, and you start to move forward, and you're like, I'm not... Like, this is not...
Do I actually fall?
No, you're like, this isn't going to result in the wine going where I need it to. So you kind of extend your arm, and it looks super purposeful as you just toss this wine.
I already have a check on Honest, by the way, so we can't get any further.
Yeah. And he
Yep.
just all of a sudden he's like talking, he's telling the story. He's like, so then we were out in the forest and
And wine.
yeah. He looks at you.
You better love me
Yeah.
for this.
He looks at
There's
you
so
and he's
much-
like, his eyes narrow, and he's like, "What is the meaning of this?"
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you.
I'm so sorry. She like drops to her knees.
He like
She like makes the big
He-
play of like
he
being
takes the
very
glass
sorry.
out of
She's
your-
also terrified.
he takes the glass out of your hand and he hurls it. He pulls it out of your hand and he hurls it across the room and then turns and leaves in a huff.
Cool. I'd also like to leave the room. At least leave sight of people.
Other direction, heading towards the kitchen or something like that.
I'd like to be out of sight for a few minutes. Both in game and out of game.
Oh man.
Oh my god. Guys, why? Oh, well, he's out of the room.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. But at what cost?
We
But
didn't
at
read it.
what cost? Alright. I leave the room.
Okay, so we're gonna. You guys are kind of, branching out, doing your own thing. You're not just sitting there observing that. You're both busy as well. So we'll go back to the top of the round with Owen.
Oh, I very specifically tried to be busy with anything else, so that I couldn't see it, just in case. Even though I want to look. I want to look so bad.
Oh, you're totally gonna catch it. Like, there's no way you're.
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
miss it, but-
I'll figure it out. But I'm actively not looking at it. I'm being Orpheus right now. I can't look back. But in that case, I am going to. Can I get those options one more time?
So gaming,
is-
flirting, gaming, flirting, intrigue, card which you can't do.
right?
Let me just
think-
look. I might be missing one.
No, I think I know what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
I'm gonna, because insult to injury would be so sweet right now if I am flirting with somebody when it happens, and he just is so embarrassed. Oh my god, I got wine spilled on me, even though it failed. But Owen doesn't know that. If he looks over and I'm just, yeah, I'm gonna get you killed, but I don't understand that.
Right. Okay.
Hanging
Are you
on.
targeting anyone in particular?
Do I see
Any sort of mark for your setup here?
somebody that is better than him?
In what way?
I mean, they're all better than him, obviously, but
Better than him.
I
in a way
don't know if I could
eyes.
somehow roll an intrigue roll to figure out if I can. This is so weird. If I have maybe seen something that he is sensitive or insecure about, if he thinks he's got a big nose or he doesn't like his teeth.
Good thinking. I don't think you have time to set that up right
Yeah.
yet, and you've had very little
Interaction.
with him
Yeah.
so far. But I like the way you think. That's going to be useful.
Yeah.
But you could. Do you want to target the
Maybe
big himbo
someone-
knight in the room, or what is, or
Yes.
a small little
Someone definitely
Lad.
that's stronger,
Yeah.
maybe stronger and
Yeah.
younger.
You're looking for the Gaston in the room here for a minute.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay. But I mean, he's just playing a part for your
Right.
roles,
Yeah.
Right.
Owen's not serious about this. It's just this is someone that will play the role, fit suit the needs of the night.
Okay. Let me just do this. Okay. This is a not foreign, but he's not from Summerland. His name's, which is great, it's Kendall. Like Kendall.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ken. Call me
Incredible.
Ken. Yeah, Sir Ken. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Go ahead and give me the roll. Let's see how this goes.
flirty, flirty, flirty roll.
Yeah.
Hello, darling. Please. Yeah. I had a 12 out of 11. It was so close.
Right. Did that count? Was that with your bonus?
With my passion, or do I get a bonus for being above the salt?
You do.
Or...
You got your +2 geniality from this, right?
Oh, so if I'm rolling with 2 extra, that would
be a
have been a
pass.
success.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Ooh.
So, because you're above the salt, you get your bonus temporarily. That is a success.
Yes.
Kendall, is it like a dance? I think I'll invite you for a dance. That's what it's going to be. He's very into you because you're into him. One of those vibes. Yeah.
Does he have a picture? Do you have a card for him?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't have him.
That's-
I'm thinking
that's-
like a very like broad-shouldered guy, lighter colored hair, kind of like down shoulder length. Yeah.
Very
Like-
much like an image foil to
Yeah.
move. Perfect. Like
Really tall, like about as tall as Kimrick come, which is not as tall as others.
tall.
And like I said, very into himself. So if you're showing him attention,
Perfect.
he's responding.
Yes.
And he's not
All right.
he's not really creepy. Like he's just
Right. He's just full of
narcissistic.
himself. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like Johnny Bravo-ish a little bit.
Oh, what a guy.
Yeah, not quite that bad, not over the top as much as Johnny Bravo, but definitely very like, oh, we make it. Everything is either a him or a we statement. It's never a you statement. It's not that interested in
Perfect.
you. Yeah,
You'll do so
Yes.
nicely.
I will, won't I? I think by the time he's like, by the time I'm successful at whatever this game is, and I find my way onto the seat of Lady Gwyneth's house. Well, we'll have plenty of time to interact. Whatever that might look like.
I'm looking forward to it. I think.
So, yeah, you see the wine go off about that same time. And he's
And
not
she'll
paying
kind
attention
of like
to
lean
it.
in really close, just like get like very close because it's a dance, right?
Yeah.
You said, yeah. She'll just kind of make it like a 5-inch gap instead of like a 10-inch gap, right as the wine goes off.
Right. Make a dance roll real quick.
Good.
Just to see.
boy.
Fumble is the only thing you gotta worry about.
What if we all just completely... Okay.
Success.
Yeah, so you don't get a tick for that because you get the tick for flirting, right? But you do not disgrace yourself on the dance floor. It goes over really well. You see Luff as he goes to leave. He has to kind of walk right past the dance floor, and Kendall's looked over for a second because the loud noise, like the smash of the cup. He looks over and looks to you a second, right after Luff walks by. Says, "What is that man's problem?"
Oh, I haven't heard.
He leans in. You know him?
Oh, he's been quite dedicated, quite pursuant.
Where's he from? I don't recognize that heraldry, but it looks like he's landed.
Did I pass? Do I know where he's from?
Yeah,
Or
yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Salisbury.
yeah, right. That's right. That's right. Right. More reasons. Or not. But Salisbury. You know how they are.
I've heard some things, yes.
Mm.
I worked previously for the House of Lev Kamagus. They say that their count in Sarum is a real fool, a real warmonger, bit of a buffoon. It wouldn't surprise me if the knights there are the same, to be honest.
No, not all.
Not all can have the grace that some of us have.
Oh, I'm sure you would best him so easily.
Start a fight.
Mhm.
That would could be like leverage, except for Loth is gone already. By the time, it's pretty quick to happen.
Next time.
Still planting the seed.
Yeah.
That he could definitely take over the fight.
Just in case he ever shows up again, it's
No.
And on to Erinley for the final action of the feast.
Where's Branwen?
You see Branwen in the corner with a glass of wine and like a turkey leg. Or what do we have for the feast? Something.
Mustard meat.
Yeah, just like a small like bit of actually it's probably the almond cake in her hand, just like kind of trying not to let anyone see it, but she's totally not your graceful, courteous knight that you would expect to enter a court, and she doesn't care.
Oh, okay. So while trying to like keep an eye on Beatrice, just in case Aranwi does need to deck a guy in the face, she is going to like walk up to the lady who was a little bit mean to her, but woman knight must talk to her.
Okay. So goal is to like gossip a bit, try and be successful here. Is that the angle?
Goal is not necessarily to gossip. Hang on, I'm gonna roll prudent versus reckless to see what my approach here is.
Is this a notice me senpai moment? Is that what we're seeing here?
Okay.
It's your choice when both fail.
I know what I'm gonna do. All right, so
you know what you think
we are
we're gonna do until we roll.
Huh?
I said, you know what you think you're gonna do till the roll happens, but please proceed with explaining.
Yep. So she's going to walk up and say, excuse me, ma'am, sir, lady,
Dame works. Or just Brandon.
Dame.
The formalities bore me.
Of course, Anwen. Are you a knight?
I am, yeah.
What's it like being a knight?
Well, she kind of looks at your face, winces, like, at the scar. And she says...
She's trying to hide it a little bit.
A bit like that. We either aim to kill or be killed. Or at least that's the way things are for now.
I was I fought under a knight before and trained under another one. I'm sorry.
Trained? Handmaidens? Oh, wait. Are you... She kind of pauses again.
I've been assigned Lady Olwyn's handmaiden, but I was a squire before, and I was Do you need a squire?
Oh, she
Shooting
just
my shot, baby.
Said it.
That's what the reckless failure has come in on, or we started off prudent, we're going in reckless. They both failed.
She just kind of like snorts at that, and she's like, "Well, I don't honestly know what I'm gonna do, to be honest. Like, I had my plans, and you can tell she's like a little tipsy, just a little bit. Like she's been.
Oh no!
Everything seemed fine, and I had my plan, and Merlin was confusing, but he always gave me direction, and then he just told me to go away and leave.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Do you need somewhere to stay?
We'll see what this game's about. It was big talk with the mercenaries. They said that whatever this game is, if we succeed, we can land a spot at the house.
Oh.
After one winter without, I will most certainly take up any hospitality that I might find.
Well, if you don't get a position at the house, the last night I squired under was staying with my family in the village. If you'd like that.
She kind of
is like cringing as she says everything.
And why don't you give me a courtesy test just for out of amusement?
Amusement, yes. I'm
I think
here
what you're
to
trying to
amuse
do
Bob.
is not come off self-serving.
12 failure.
So
it is a little bit, but also she is like,
yeah.
Please squire me, I'll give you a room.
Yeah, and she's just like, she looks at you and she says, I wish you the best, kid, but that's not how it works. And with that, she kind of pats you on the shoulder and moves to walk away. So we're going to
Life is over.
we're going to do a couple of quick scenes and then wrap up for the night because we are pretty late. We're not going to get to the game, but I'm going to do a couple of small little bits. We're going to start real quick with Beatrice, who's gone to the kitchen after the moment. You swear for a second you're not alone. There's someone. You think someone's right behind you, actually. Now,
Is there a knife in the kitchen?
There is, yep.
Okay. How close do I think this person is?
Probably like 5 feet away. Pretty close.
How close is the knife?
About the same. The other way.
Okay.
The other way, though.
Are there other people in the kitchen?
They are, but you can hear them like off. You gotta kind of go around the corner, like they're out of sight right now.
Okay, so I'm going to try and like jump for the knife and spin around really quick. I'm not stabbing at anything. More so getting herself next to it so that she can spin around and look.
You see this knight Cadogan, and he's leaning against the wall, kind of like leaning to the side. He's got an apple in a hand, and he's got a knife in the other. And you just see him peel the first bit. He smiles as you raise the knife to him, and he puts the slice of apple into his mouth with the knife. He says, I'm not sure what your game is, little girl, but I just wanted to let you know that wasn't wise, and I'll remember.
She'll just sort of, when she realizes that he doesn't seem like he's going to do anything at this moment, she keeps a hold of the knife, and she lowers it a little bit, and she nods slowly. If it's any consolation, I don't think it was wise either.
I think he just laughs at that then. And the scene is kind of just interrupted as Aaron Lee's mom comes around the corner to grab a couple things and looks and says, "I'm sorry, Sir Knight. Are you looking for something?" And he says, "No, I think I found what I was looking for." And
Beatrice will kind of smile down at the floor and look back at him and kind of nod, like almost respectfully towards the man that just threatened her. But respect.
you sense a very it's a from him specifically. It's not that same. There's no the vibes are very intimidating. Just to be clear, it's intimidate,
Yeah.
but not with anything else there, right? Just the
Yeah, no, she's more so. She comes back with the respect more so because he was able to sneak up on her, and also because she respects what he's doing. It's like he's protecting the dude he works for. Like, of course he is. So yeah,
you're picking up on exactly the kind of motives intended here, for sure.
Yeah, she knows. She had a feeling there would be backlash when it went that badly. That's why she booked it. So yeah, she kind of respectfully nods. She still has knuckle white grip on a knife, but kind of respectfully nods and smiles at the floor.
Okay, so the scene cuts over. I think is this something where Aaron, Wee, and Olwen have come back together now? At the end of the feast kind of thing?
Yeah, Aranwi's probably gone back to home base after she struck out quite badly. She's feeling a little bit down.
So as you come back together, do either of you want to say anything here? It looks like Lady Gwyneth's just about to deliver some sort of speech.
I think really quick before it happens, Olwen would just be like, "Did you see it? I was just dancing, but did you see his face? Was it worth it? He seemed so angry. Did it work?"
Bob, did I see it? I was keeping an eye on it, but the angles might not have worked out. I've been distracted by getting rejected.
I think you do. I think it's the only moment you're like, "Oh, that wasn't so bad," or it kind of brings a slight smile to your face watching Wolf storm off. You're like, "Oh, it couldn't get any worse," and you watch him storm off. You're like, "Ah, sucker." Yeah.
I guess it could get worse. I could have not seen that.
Yeah.
It made my night. Yeah, so Aranwi kind of came back to Olwen looking a little bit dejected, but as soon as Olwen is like, "What? Did it work? Did it work?" She brightens up a little bit and she's like, "Oh, you looked so mad."
Wonderful. I'm so pleased. I should have to congratulate Beatrice on a job well done.
Beatrice ran off. I think she botched making it look like an accident.
Oh no.
We should probably go check on her. At least me. He was mad. I was thinking I might actually have to go over there and hit him.
Oh, we wouldn't.
I didn't think that I was going to have to make good on that. But I was a little worried.
The night is still young.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that. I don't actually want to face the consequences of punching a knight in the face, but I will.
Of course you will, because you're my dedicated maiden, and you'd have
It's
to
for my
defend
lady's honor.
Exactly.
At this point, Lady Gwyneth starts to speak, and she says, "Welcome, Knights of the Realm. Thank you for coming. I hope that you have enjoyed this feast so far. And I'd like to announce for now, the game shall begin soon. With that, she has like a live hare, like a rabbit. She reaches down into a box and pulls it up and begins to pet it. She says, "It is spring equinox, an important day here in Summerland, and one we will honor. This is an old tradition here at Barrowcrest Manor. It dates back several generations. I would like to honor it today. What I'm offering is a game, and I will explain the rules quite soon to the knights and their squires. You see a lot of the squires get up off the ground and begin to find their knights. As Lady Gwynedd continues, she says, but first, I will mention that this is non-violent. There's no threat, no dueling, no arms race here. What we look for is those knights brave enough to hunt. But the hunt is different. It is for eggs and the hare who lay them. And with that, she pulls out what looks like some kind of makeshift costume hairband things. They look like kind of, like something you might wear in your hair. Yep. And she's got a grip of them. And she says, so I will ask my knights first and foremost, please gather with your squires and exit to, and she kind of motions the door, and the knights begin to get up and move. And you can see Lady Gwynedd is looking around as if to find someone, but then her eyes
I'm under the
lock
table.
in.
I'm under the table.
Her eyes lock in on Owen.
Oh, I'm under the table. She can't see me.
Yeah. She begins to kind of leave and move. All the knights begin to move. Aaron, you see Dame Branwyn. She walks beside you.
Mm-hmm.
She says,
Me.
I think that might be the case. Look, I'm sorry. It's been a year.
It sounded like you've been having a rough time.
I'm a little drunk now, so I'm not sure how this is gonna work. But let's just hope that the squire has more duties than the knight. He smiles. Come on, let's go. We're gonna be late.
Thank you.
And I hope you have a change of clothes.
Oh, yes, right. Clothes. I'm gonna get a change of clothes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah!
We're gonna cut from that for a second. And we're gonna actually fade there tonight.
I'm not in the room. Wait, eyes far away.
Before Ronwi leaves, she is going to take a napkin out of her pocket, and she's going to hand it to Olwyn and say, I saved some of the almond cakes for Rickert. I don't want them getting crushed in whatever I'm about to do, so if you could hold on to them for me.
Owen reaches up from under the table.
Just like leaning down, like, take the almond cakes.
And takes the almond cakes. And like puts them in
in her bra.
In something, in some sort of pouch. I don't know how fancy Arthurian dresses work. And then she's also very much avoiding the headband.
Yeah. So, we talked about a Jane Austen style episode. I hope I did some justice with the discomfort we discussed. Don't worry, it gets better.
I'm having a lot of fun with it, Bob. It's
supposed
very
to be
fun.
awkward, but I think this is just finding the footing of the game, and also leaning in heavily to some. Let's just say that there's some unrevealed parts of this that make it not so awful.
I'm having a blast with it. It's really fun. I like putting my characters in in uncomfortable situations.
For sure, and that's absolutely why I checked, in with the 3, because I'm like, we're streaming. This could come off like, I know the 3 of you know me pretty well, but I'm like, it could come off poorly if it looks like I'm just spraying something out of left field. So I think it's good. It's good to do that.
I'm gonna go ahead and do a disclaimer. Bob is a very good GM and is very good with checking in with us and making sure that our comfort levels are not breached.
Yeah.
So we're all very happy and comfy here.
I appreciate that.
And
Yeah,
I'm not
I want to
blinking
make
twice
sure.
'cause there's no guns in my head.
And yeah, absolutely. If you're ever like, hey, we need a 5, that's a good indicator. If there's ever anything, it's like,
We
I
could do
don't think
an
we'll ever
X
get
card
there.
if you ever need it.
Yeah.
I know a lot of games use the X card.
Yeah, that's smart.
So.
Yeah, and we can cut to a break during that period. So. All right, let's do some quick outros and let everyone go to sleep. So, I'm Bob. I've been running the game. I had hoped to kind of kill this all with one thing, but we're 2 hours in, so 2.5 hours in. So let's go ahead and wrap her up. We will be continuing with a part 2 that involves the game at the spring equinox. So prepare for discomfort and awkwardness and some curveballs, probably. So.
I am Rebecca, and I could play for another 2 hours, but I know that we got other people to consider, and I'm just having so much fun. I played Owen. I'm gonna get so many people killed.
Hopefully Luff at least.
And I've had a blast, and I am on Twitter at Queen of Ferelden if you'd like to follow me. And we have a Discord if you want to join. I don't know if we got the link refreshed, but we could throw that in the chat for anyone if you're interested in joining the Discord. And we have a YouTube where all of these lovely episodes go after, pretty much the next day, if not the night of being aired. And you can follow that link below as well. It's taking time, Bob. And we'd love to have you. Right? I'll throw it down to me.
Thank you. Well then, let's go with Emily now.
Alrighty. I'm Emily. I was playing Beatrice. I'm super scared. Next session. I had so much fun. Was not anticipating getting in quite so much trouble.
Yeah, speaking of getting people killed, no, I'm just kidding.
It's me. But yeah, follow, join our Discord. Go and see us on YouTube if you want to catch up. I love you guys, but I don't have social media, so.
Okay.
But yeah, it was super fun. I enjoyed it.
Thanks. And last but not least, Megan.
Again, I was playing Aranwi. Unlike everyone else, I had a kind of a rocky middle to my feast experience, but this was a pretty good feast. She had a good time. I don't know what you guys are talking about with your death threats or whatever. I'm on Discord, certainly, under Megan, and that's it.
That's fair.
Had a great time.
All right, so I think we're.
Can't wait to.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I can't wait. I have a night, at least for one night.
There you go.
One night.
A night
one
for
night
one night.
and
That would be a
swap.
good
Night for a night.
episode name. Yeah. A night for a night. Actually, it sounds. Actually, I would totally lead in the wrong direction. I think. As far as the title, yeah. But yeah, so we're good for next Tuesday. Any issues with that? I think. I said it's good for the next one, but the one after is
Yeah.
no
after
go.
that.
Wait a minute. I think I'm good for
Oh, wait,
both.
no. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
getting my games mixed up. It's my Sunday that 2 weeks from now. We'll figure it out.
Right.
Okay, so let's go ahead and
But
wrap.
yes. No.
Oh, and we have one of the advantages of being affiliate now is we get 14 days on Twitch before you have to watch it on YouTube. So that's yay.
Oh.
Yeah. Which used to just be a feature, or like a
Now it's a bug.
yeah, basically. Anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next week. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.